last time in the relay.
On the standing shoot. And the other factor is he's an intelligent racer. He's like Petter Northug of the cross country. Now, Northug annoys some and he's adored by others, but he is an incredibly intelligent racer. He knows where to be, he knows what part of the track that he can make up ground, and he never wastes an ounce of energy.
I think he's also like the hunter. He feels other people. He can gain strength from other people's weaknesses on the track. He knows that he has to increase his pace at times and really hurt others.
Here's Terje Boe. That's a replay of action a little earlier on. Just giving a drink. It's been warm today, but it's now down to -7, and so quite why they need to take on drink. It will certainly help, I guess, as this race goes on. 15 kilometers the distance. Now, Mike, a couple of minutes before they come in for shoot number 2, there was a small matter of a media race yesterday. One or two of our emails asking how we got on. Well, I can tell you, I went for a walk on the Khanty-Mansijsk river, which is astonishingly beautiful, just outside the town of Khanty-Mansijsk. Mike Dixon couldn't resist the urge, and I've never heard so many excuses as to why he didn't win.
I won't even talk about the excuses, but skis that were 4 times wider than race skis, boots that were like slippers, poles that were like classic poles. No, it was great fun. 40 people out having fun, and yeah, sorry we could only take the silver medal.
Anyway, he was soundly beaten by Magnus Alder, but a good effort nonetheless. Back to the mass start, and dropping off the pace, that's one of the Ukrainians.
Shemenov, yeah, struggling with the intense pace now that's at the front of this one. Biathlon as well, dropping 10 seconds from when he left the range. That shows the pace at the front.
Interesting. Arndt Pfeiffer goes through. Now, Pfeiffer came out a long way down after the first shoot, outside the top 20, and Pfeiffer has done well. He's fighting back, but with Terje Boe now pushing the pace, this is exactly what he did in the relay yesterday, Mike. He absolutely stormed the first lap because he knew that Mickey Grice would try and stay with him.
And it seems like he's trying to do more damage to the others. He's so supremely confident, and I think Terje Boe wants lane 1. So now it's an open range. You've just got to file in from the right side of range.
We've got 3 Norwegians in that leading pack. Terje Boe at the front, Svensson down in around 5th, and Lars Berger down in 8th position at the moment, and Berger just 3 seconds behind. This time they take the lane that corresponds with their entry into the range, so it will be Boe in lane 1, and having shot in lane 3 for the first one, I think he'll be confident of similar conditions all the way down to lane 14 occupied. Can Lukas Hoffer go clear for the 2nd time today and keep himself in the running? Bergman, first to strike, first to miss.
Grice, he's missed the first.
Terje Boe, very, very steady, no rush. Lukas Hoffer, 4 out of 4, 5 out of 5. And Martin Fourcade goes clear as well. Still, Terje Boe is just patiently waiting on lane number 1. He just wanted to make sure, and a little nod of approval from Mickey Lofgren, the Norwegian coach. Hoffer is away. I don't think Terje Boe will be too concerned.
Lars Berger out clean. That is good news for the Norwegian.
So 3 Norwegians in the top 8 still, 9.6 the margin. Makaviv of Russia, Sherazov of Russia, Ustikov of Russia, all in that leading group. And I tell you what, from the men's relay, the Russian shooting was outstanding.
They've had a great championships in terms of shooting. It's just the intense training, trying to build their form for this. They were pushed too hard. Their ski speed has deserted them.
Bjorn Dahlen up to 15th place, Mike, now just 33 seconds behind Oliana. Oh, actually, has he moved up? He's 31. He's gained 2 seconds with that 2nd shoot. So he's still dangerous. He's just 1 shot behind the leading group. Hoffer, Fourcade, Suman, Svensson, the leading 4 here. Lars Berger moving up to 5th. Terje Boe dropping down to 7th. But it is a group. It's a group of 9 athletes heading on their way to shoot number 3, which is, of course, the first in the stand. Let's have a look at Terje Bo's targets. A very, very lucky hit.
That was low right. It was just enough energy in that bullet to knock the target over. He took his time on this last shot.
Interesting. What do you make of his tactics there?
I was surprised he shot so slowly. He clearly wanted to get them so much, designed to hit them, that he wasn't going to push his own pace.
It's not often you get a Swede who wants a Norwegian to do so well, is it? Nicky Lofgren, of course, used to ski race for Sweden.
And talking about the Swedes, it was so sad there for Carl-Johan Bergman. He missed 3 targets, and I think that was because he was trying to stay with this burning pace at the front. Berger's Lars Berger, the tall, in red at the back of this lead 5.
Hoffer's tactics?
Hoffer's strength is his skiing, so he's got to try and gain something on the tracks, but I'm so impressed with him so far. I'm not feeling overconfident about his stand shooting, though. The Italian, I'd love to see him get up there on the podium, though.
Third round, second drink for Terje Bo. I wonder whether that's because he's just starting to feel the fatigue. As we've mentioned, he's done 5 races, and winning 5 medals not only shows how good you are, but it shows what sort of effort you've been putting in. If you're in the running for a medal, there's no doubt that that last loop is pushed just a few percentage points harder.
What's amazed me, and what I'm sure anyone that's involved in sport, that this is the 10th day and this is their 6th race at World Championships over these tracks earlier on in incredibly cold conditions, so it's much harder work there on this aggressive snow, and they're still able to keep it together 10 days later and fire themselves up, get their mind, their mental ability ready to hit targets again and again.
I take your point, Mike, but maybe you could argue that there's not enough variation in the events to have someone who's better at the sprints doing those, someone who's better at the long distance doing those. Everyone here is equally capable of winning the shortest and the longest event.
That is so true. Maybe there is a place, and I'm beginning to agree with you, maybe there is a place for some kind of sprint racing, but you can only race 30 as we can in a mass start, so the sprint racing is going to have to be in heats. I would love to see it, and I'm sure you could sort of match it to what the cross country does, say about 2 kilometers with 2 shoots.
Yeah, what does the Olympic 100-meter final have? 8 athletes? You know, let's whittle it down from 120 down to the top 30, or even less for the final. Certainly, maybe it's something that comes in the IBU. Waiting for a decision from the International Olympic Committee over the inclusion of the mixed relay in Sochi. I think it's looking very likely because it was an outstanding race. And I think perhaps one of the greatest virtues was the fact that all the athletes enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it's bonding for every team. It's and you know, and I'm sure many other nations like Austria are signing up to it now. They haven't signed up to it before.
The Russians starting to struggle with the pace. I think that's is that Maximov, who's just falling away from the leading group. But if his shooting record is anything to go by, he'll be back up with the leaders after shoot number 3. Germany still with a very good chance indeed. They have in this leading group. Andy Birnbach is just off the back of the group. In fact, no Germans in the leading group at all.
Well, this is a chase pack now, and the energy coming round that bend. Leif Nordgren still there for America, so he's in the 2nd pack.
Certainly not out of the running for a medal. That would be certainly the biggest surprise of the championship so far. Good to see Belarus on the podium for the first time today in the women's mass start. Standing tall is Terje Bo, still under control.
I think that was Edgar Pixens, the Latvian. He's done so well here. He did say he was absolutely exhausted yesterday, but so unlucky. The 2nd pole he snapped.
Here comes Lars Berger. He's already seen his sister take a bronze medal today, and it wouldn't be the first time this season that both of them have stood on the podium. In fact, they've both got a win in Ruhpolding on the same day in the sprint event there, and it would be another great occasion for family Berger if that were to happen.
And Lars Berger, he makes the skiing look so easy. This hill is incredibly steep. It's a horrendous hill just prior to the stadium.
The chase group are closing. That is Andy Birnbach leading the way on the left-hand side. As you look at it, Arndt Pfeiffer And then I think just off the back of the group, is that Mickey Grice?
It is. That group is all the ones who've missed one target. Mickey Grice is the first of 2 targets missed.
44 seconds behind. He is 2 shots effectively behind the leaders. They are now well past the halfway stage in the last race for the men at these championships. The last chance for Svensson to get an individual gold. I wonder whether Svensson regrets his decision putting his name down for the 4x10 relay at the Nordic World Championships.
I honestly think he will, because he would have been, I'm quite sure, in the mixed relay team, which was the first race, but of course he had just flown in prior to that on standby to help out at the cross-country World Championships. Lars Berger, great to see him at the front.
Yeah, good long look down the range, just assessing the positions. I think he'll be glad to see that the flags in lane 1 are just at about 30 to 40 degrees. It's not been too bad, but 1 or 2 gusts have come through the stadium in the last 10 minutes. If it hits now, it could cause a few problems. A first miss for Martin Fourcade. That's bad news for the French team, certainly. Suman misses 1. Berger 2 out of 2. 3 out of 3. Hoffer goes 5 out of 5. Astonishing shooting from him. Svensson and Boe both go 5 with 5. And the last 2 shots from Berger have gone wide. But the Russians, the hosts, are still in it because Ustikov has cleaned all 5.
Amazing. Hoffer, that was so fast. Obviously he got all 5 targets. And Andreas Zingerli, we saw a quick shot of him earlier, the head coach for Italy. He has taught Hoffer how to shoot.
What, in the space of 3 days? Because his shooting has not been good recently. Actually, having said that, Hoffer in the individual, he missed 4, so 16 out of 20.
It's a lot better. Hoffer's weakness has always been his shooting, but Zingerli has tried to calm him down, try to get to focus his mind on the aspects of the skills rather than just thinking about the race.
But I can tell you that Hoffer has not shot 100% shoot in any race so far this season. He is on the verge of achieving that. Just 5 targets remain, but they're exactly the same targets as the previous 15, but they're a whole lot harder on the last shoot.
Look at that, only 5 of the best 30 have managed to hit 0-0-0.
Makaviv keeps himself in the running with another clear shoot. Lars Berger, 2 penalties, now 48 behind. Bjorndalen moves up into 12th, only 1 miss. Well, it's a familiar duel at the front of the field. It is Boe versus Svensson, starting to pull away from Hoffer. And, well, it was Svensson who out-sprinted Boe at the finish of the pursuit. And Svensson, undoubtedly the hungrier of the 2.
Yeah, I would say when you line them, they're both so good, but when you line them up over that last 200 metres, you would almost favour Svensson, what he can do in that last 200. Oh, Fourcade almost being tripped up there by, who's that, number 20? It's Makaviv.
Martin Fourcade 20 seconds behind, having missed that 1 shot. I think what the Norwegians are doing is capitalising on the fact that Fourcade has missed, because I think they both know that the Frenchman is a little bit quicker than either of them, and it may be on the last loop. Although the Norwegians, Mike, throughout the season have always saved something for the final 3Ks.
They have. Maybe the strategy is different this time. Ustikov went out only 6 seconds behind, but now they're blowing him away with this horrendous pace.
I wouldn't rule him out of a medal, though. Russia's 3rd, perhaps. Whether they can get the gold or not, we'll have to wait and see. There will be an immense amount of pressure. Lucas Hoffer's got the tactics spot on here. He's staying with the leading 2, but he's trying to do as little work as possible before the final shoot.
And Ustikov, although he's off the pace, he must be feeling great being the Olympic champion. He's kept it together. 1 year ago, when it mattered most, it was on that last shoot that he secured that gold medal.
Now, Fourcade was in this position in the pursuit, Mike, trailing Arndt Pfeiffer by a considerable distance before the final shoot. And he came through to take the victory because Pfeiffer put 1 wide.
Amazing. You cannot write Martin Fourcade off, and that's why the Norwegians at the front are thinking, right, we've got to keep the psychological gap here to keep Martin Fourcade out of this one. 6
medals from 6 races, possibly for Terje Boe. Well, he's still a long way off Ole Einar Bjorndal's count of 34 World Championship medals. 34, or is it 35 now after yesterday's relay? I guess it is.
I think it is 35. And I'm just